Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome along to the Royal Link Up podcast. Podcast, even. I am the amazing Sniper Beef. We are 32 days away as of the recording of this podcast. We are 32 days away from this year's Royal Link Up. We're recording this on Tuesday, the 3rd of June. 32 days away is getting very close indeed. Masanevra, how are you today?
I'm very well, thank you, with 32 days to go. So yeah, all good in the hood.
Indeed. Devastate, how you doing?
Yeah, really well, thank you, Beef. And yeah, being you get into that magical 1 month mark, and then I realise that I actually just need to knuckle down and actually start gaming in preparation for the link up.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so yes, good. Back on a bit of Sins this afternoon, um, which has changed again since the last time I played it. It's like I think I'm going to just experience all these games that I haven't played in probably about last month or so that have just completely radically changed.
And then just to add to that, something that we also have to do within the link up is not only get back into some of the games that we're definitely going to play, is make sure all the games are downloaded, because some of the games we won't have got downloaded, and then back in the day when internet speeds were very slow, if you got 15 people trying to download a game all at one time, it was painfully slow. So I think we've got 900 down, 900 up at the venue this year. So I think we should be fine, even if people need to download games. But we'll need to make sure that we've got all the main games downloaded. And we've got our spreadsheet, which we'll look to share maybe in the next podcast. And Devastate can throw up a list of all the games that we've got on there. I think that would be good. But let's crack on with this week's podcast. So we're going to talk around Dune Awakening. We're going to touch on 007, new game there. The Xbox handheld device, Summer Games Fest, and we'll round off with Mass's Game of the Week. So, kicking off, Dune Awakening coming out on Thursday the 5th for early access. 3 different versions available, Devastate. I know this is a game very high on, or should we say, very prominent on your radar at the moment. Tell us a little bit more about it.
Yeah, so had my eye on this game for a long time. It's going to come out. I think it was about either the beginning of last month or the end of April. Um, One of my favourite games of all time is Star Wars Galaxies. For anyone who can remember that game in the chat, I want to see some heart emojis. But this game looks very, very similar. This is MMO, but not a full-on MMO. But it's essentially a survival game, but it's multiplayer. You can basically build up your character, build up your fortress, and survive like the sandworm. And essentially, it's about crafting, which is one of my favourite things in MMOs. And it generally looks like it's got all the hallmarks of a game that I am going to sink hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours into. But as you mentioned, there's 3 levels. So we've got the standard Dune Awakening edition, $41.99. Then we have the deluxe and the ultimate edition, both of which are coming out on Thursday. If you purchase the normal one, that's coming out on the 10th of June. So obviously there's a difference in price, say 58 or 74, and these are UK prices. So the difference between the 2 early access editions, the deluxe, you get access to a season pass of some sort, and you'll get some armor. For the ultimate edition, you'll get a sand bike, an orthicopter swatch, a building palace set. You'll get a film still suit from the June 2021 film, a digital art book, and the soundtrack. So
You'll be able to move around a lot quicker, won't you, if you have the ultimate pack? That's the incentive, isn't it? I think.
yeah, but again, it depends on the crafting essentially. So one of the things that I like actually doing is like you do the crafting and get rewarded for it, rather than just buying your way to glory. But
Yeah.
essentially, you will get a head start in the game. You're going to be getting it 5 days earlier.
Yeah. Do you know what I find also quite not alarming, but like odd in that even if you order just the standard edition, I'm just reading off my other screen. If you order the standard edition, you still get pre-order as long as you pre-ordered it. You get pre-order rewards,
Yeah.
so you can still play it from the 5th, but you get a Sunset Dye Global Swatch, whatever that is, and a terrarium of Mudadib, whatever that is.
Yep.
So if you
It's
buy it
a
after,
desert mouse.
all right, so if you buy it after the 5th, you don't get the pre-order award. So there is still incentive to buy it, even if it's just the base game, or should we say the standard edition, over and above the deluxe or the ultimate. So yeah, that's not too bad to be honest. But yeah, it'd be good to see some gaming from that. We can. Do you think it could be one for the Link, maybe, or is it too much of a Rust or Arc type game that will engross the entire Link and take away from all the other games?
Well, so here I'm gonna essentially here's my game. I'm gonna wait until the game comes out for everyone who's got the early access version. I'm gonna watch people play it, get the reviews, and I'm saying I keep saying this: don't ever pre-order games. Never pre-order anything, because if the game is rubbish, you've already sunk your money in. So I'm gonna, and same with hardware. Don't pre-order hardware until you've seen the reviews. So I'm gonna watch the reviews, watch some streamers play it, and I'm gonna see what I think. And then on Friday, if I like what I see, I will then pre-order to get the pre-order bonus for the version that comes out on the 10th.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. That's a good plan. Good plan, to be
How,
honest.
however, I don't know whether it will be a Link game. My gut feeling is it's going to be one of those games that if we started playing it, there's no organic endpoints to any of
Yeah.
these sorts of games. So it could be a game that just gets played for the whole week. And in my opinion, that's not a good experience
No,
for
I suppose.
anyone who doesn't like the game. And they're like, oh, everyone keeps on playing. Like 80% of the people are playing this game, so it sort of ruins your Link. So
I suppose on the flip side, it could also be similar to what we used to do with Ark, in that we'd play it for 20 minutes in a downtime, and you go and do a little bit in your downtime between games, or when we're ordering food, for example. So it could be a bit of both, but no, it looks good. Definitely one to keep an eye on for sure in the next week or so, and I'm sure once and if Devastate goes ahead with it, we'll get a review on that on the podcast for sure. But moving on, Mass, talk to me about the new 007 First Light game.
Yeah, so they've just mentioned about the 007 First Light game from IO Interactive. People will know them from other games, the stealth games like Hitman and the Kane and Lynch series. So this 007 game is going to be a stealth action game. It's very much like those. At the moment, it's actually only been announced for the Nintendo Switch 2, but and it will only be therefore like the other games that I mentioned. I think this certainly in the case of Hitman, I think they're only ever single player games, and this is also down as a single player game. So it's not really too much information to go on, but yeah, if anybody was hoping for that first person golden eye, then that isn't going to happen, I'm afraid, at the moment. So but yeah, it's going to be released sometime later in the year, I believe. So but
Okay.
yeah, it's
when
not too
was the last James Bond game?
last James Bond game.
15 years ago.
Sure, when we've had a James Bond.
I want to say maybe 2014, maybe
James Bond game.
2013. I guess.
Yeah, I remember there was I recognise the packaging for some of the old the Xbox.
Yeah, I remember the old ones, and
Yeah,
obviously after GoldenEye, but
yeah, but none of those hit the mark, did they? I don't think there was one. We played one on the Switch, didn't we? Sorry, not on the Switch, on the Wii. There was one. So that
But
was
nothing's ever going to live up to the GoldenEye, though, is it? Like, I just think it's not flogging a dead horse, but like, you just nothing's going to live up to GoldenEye and what GoldenEye was.
GoldenEye 007. It was the 2010 game, so that was the one we played on the Wii
I
15
wasn't too
years
many
ago.
years out.
So
Anyway,
but
moving on.
So
The
the last one
last,
though was 007 Legends, which was a first-person shooter that was on Windows as well. It was also on the failed Wii U console, 360, and the PS3. So that was 2012. So that's 13 years ago now.
I wasn't too
But I
far off then.
wasn't ever something that we never came across that one. It's not something we ever played at a link up, was it? So,
No,
no.
no. Right, well, moving on. The Xbox handheld device, which we've talked about previously on the podcast, has unfortunately been sidelined by Microsoft in a move to move a lot of that staff to another division to hopefully improve Windows 11 for third-party handheld devices. Devastate, talk to me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so essentially we were really, really, really early on the news that Microsoft were working on a handheld, where people didn't even believe. People were calling us liars, and that's not going to happen. And then months later, we essentially were right, and it came out that they were working on it. But essentially, what's happened is that the rise in handheld gaming, and especially with all these companies like the Rode, the Asus ROG, and basically devices Steam Deck like that are running Windows, that Microsoft has realised that they need to improve that experience for all of their partners. So they basically taken their staff who are working on the Xbox handheld, put them in the Windows 11 division, that are literally concentrating on the handheld gaming part of it. So a bit of a blow.
It's kind of a sign of the times of where Microsoft's going, isn't it? It's moving away from being a first-party hardware company to more being focused on the entire ecosystem of games across not only Windows 11 but also PlayStation, Xbox Games Pass, etc. And they're kind of having less focus on hardware and more focus on software, which is obviously what Microsoft are renowned for. They are a software company in the if we go back to when they first launched. So it doesn't surprise me in terms of sign of the times. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see, because obviously you've got a lot of the Steam Deck, the Lenovo Legions, the Asuses, and there's going to be more coming out. Obviously with the Switch 2 coming out, there's going to be competing devices, and it makes a lot of sense given that they want to make sure that the experience is as good as it can be, so that they can compete with the likes of the Switch 2.
Yeah, and I also think it's really interesting, this changing ideal, because of SteamOS that is now out in the ether now, and you can install SteamOS on devices. And literally this week, there's been the benchmarks, and they've compared Windows and Steam Deck, and SteamOS for running games, and SteamOS absolutely crushes Windows. So Microsoft have heard that call and gone, we can't have that. Because I think Microsoft's long-term strategic element, they brought all these game studios. They want to get as many people organically into into Xbox Games Pass. So it needs to be seamless and work flawlessly. So look, I think it's more of a PR bit for the time being, but long term it will help out their Xbox Game Pass revenue, because they've got to start making the money back that they're spending on these game studios.
And talking of games, exciting one this Friday coming up. Devastate is going to be live streaming is it an opening ceremony of the Summer Games Fest?
No, so it is. So it is. Well, it is the opening ceremony, but it is Summer Games Fest spread over a couple of days, but primarily Friday evening, 9 o'clock is where it all kicks off, and looking at loads of exclusive games that are going to be announced. Then some of them will be out this year, some of them will be out next year, some will be out in the future. Like I remember, like last year, we saw Fable, and for example, lots of bits and pieces like that. So I will be live streaming on TikTok for Summer Games Fest, where I'll be reacting to the trailers. I think it's about 3 hours, so we're going to go watch all of those, going to react to them, and yeah, so I'm excited to see, and then praying that we can get some games that are going to come out sort of under a month before the link up hits. But hopefully, yeah, we can get some bangers.
No, fingers crossed on that. So yeah, make sure you're tuned in to Devastate. And what time is that on Friday? Friday the 6th.
So that is Friday the 6th at 9 p.m. And we'll
9
be
p.m.
on TikTok. So if you aren't following us on TikTok, please go and do so at the Royal Link Up. And while I'm here, let's talk to you about all of our other channels. So we're posting some content on X at the moment. Make sure you follow us, I'll say on X. Make sure you follow us on YouTube. There you go.
The Royal Cup.
So yeah, make sure you follow us across all of our channels as we are in the run up to the Royal Link Up, and then it's going to be more and more content that is coming out. We're doing more and more live streams. We're going to be doing live Q&As as well. So if there's anything you want to know, put it in the chat in the live stream. But yes, Summer Games Fest this Friday, 9 p.m. I'll be live.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Right, and to round off this episode of the podcast, as we do every week, Matt talks us through a game of the week, which has been recommended to us either by you, the viewers, or someone that we know in a game that we could potentially play during the link up, or could be a game that we could play outside of the link up as well. Matt, talk to me about that game.
So the game is Fragpunk from the developer and publisher Bad Guitar Studio. It is a first-person shooter. It's free to play. Fragpunk is a thrilling 5v5 hero shooter where shroud cards allow you to break the rules of combat and ensure that no 2 rounds are ever the same. Get ready to unleash your skills. So this is recommended by one of our fellow Raw Linkers, Rage Quits. It's got pretty decent reviews, mostly positive. There's had a lot of people that have played it already since its release just back in March. So yeah, I think this is the fact that it's free. It's not going to be take too much to sort of convince people, is it, to at least give it a go. So yeah, this is going to be one that we'll probably give it a shot. So given that we, as I say, we're a little bit thin on first-person shooters with no X-Defiant at all, having lost that. So yeah.
It very much reminds you of like a cross between X-Defiant and Apex Legends.
Yeah.
If you know Apex Legends. But as Matt said, it's a free game, and free games are the best price games available. So it's probably one that we will no doubt try out the link up for sure. Yeah, looks not too bad a game at all. Right. Anything else?
If we can get a private game going on it, that'll be the ultimate win. That we all try and log in, and match up will be the challenge. So we might have to do a bit of testing pre-link up on that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep, definitely.
But I think it looks fun.
Yep, I would agree. Right. I think we'll leave it there for this episode of the podcast. As usual, we'd love it if you drop a like and a subscribe if you're watching us over on YouTube. If you're watching us over on any other channel, drop a follow, a like, and a subscribe. And any comments you've got on what we talked about today, or what you'd like to or what you'd like us to talk about in the future, even drop it in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you, the viewers and listeners. Until next time, I've been the Amazing Sniper Beef.
I've been Devastate.
And I've been Massinivry. Tofu.
Catch you later, peeps. Goodbye.
Laters.